Okay, so for the salmon, took it out the package and then I cut it all up, and I'm gonna clean it with some lemon juice, like over here. And then once I clean it, I'll season it up and then I'll bag it up in a freezer bag. So I rinsed off the salmon with some cold water, and then I'll season it with some of this Dash seasoning. It's just a garlic and herb all-purpose kind of seasoning. So I'm going to start seasoning that up. Once the salmon is nicely coated on all the pieces, then it's ready to get bagged up. And then I'll just put it in those Ziploc freezer bags. And out of that container that we got from Costco, which cost $36.22, we got 2 bags of salmon, and we can make salmon twice this month. Now, I should have bought 2 cases of this salmon, because looking at it now, this will literally only do for one night, and I was hoping that I'll be able to have leftovers for the following day after we make the salmon on that particular day of the month. But I guess our Instacart shopper picked a smaller case, and I should have requested a bigger one. I wasn't thinking, but that's okay. So for those nights that we won't have leftovers, I guess I have to supplement with something quick and easy like fried rice or something like that. Okay, so after disinfecting and cleaning everything, I'm going to work on these beef strips that we're going to be using this month to make like a beef stir-fry ramen dish. Sorry from the background, but yeah, so I'm going to take those out of the package, clean those off with some vinegar, and then season it up, but I'll be back and show you as I work through that whole process. So I'm going to work on one package at a time. So this is what came out of the first package. Then I'm going to rinse it off with some vinegar. Now for the beef, I'm going to be seasoning it with a little bit of Dash, a little bit of Old Bay, a little bit of onion powder, and a little bit of garlic powder, because Asian dishes always has its own seasoning, so just a touch of each. So I'm going to rinse the beef off with some vinegar and some water. After I rinse off the vinegar, I usually rinse it with water about 3 or 4 times. Now that it's rinsed, I'm going to cut them into smaller pieces. I'll probably just cut them in half or so. So I cut them up into smaller pieces. Some of them I cut into 3 pieces, and then some of them I just cut in half. Added a pinch of Dash seasoning. I added a pinch of the Old Bay seasoning. And then I added a pinch of onion powder and a pinch of garlic powder. Then I'm just going to use my hand and mix it up. Okay, so I just gave it a quick mixing. And now it's ready to be bagged up in the freezer bag. And I'll do the same thing for this batch. This is all the meat that I'll use for the one night that we're making it this month. And then that should give us some leftovers, and the same thing with this. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to prep this stewing beef from Costco. This is what we'll use to make our stew beef for the month. I have 2 of these. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. Basically the same thing I did with the beef just prior to this. Yeah, just keep it simple because those dishes have their own kind of seasonings that will go in later on. I just wanted to quickly say that, mamas, remember that when you're dealing with different meats, like how I'm dealing with salmon, chicken, and beef, always disinfect your area. Make sure your cutting board is clean and you clean your knives and so forth. Don't be dealing with fish and then cutting beef on it and then chicken. It's not the best idea to do that. But I just wanted to quickly show you how big some of these pieces are. So I'm going to have to cut them in half. So this is why I was cutting them in half. Because there's some really big, like I found even bigger pieces in this. So I'm going to continue cutting them in half as I go through the package. This is some of the big pieces I was talking about, so just keep in mind if you're going to buy stewing beef from Costco, you can probably get double the amount and get it to stretch because you can cut them in half. So that's all the beef cut up in half. I'm just going to rinse it with some vinegar and then I will season this batch up. Okay, just finished rinsing the meat and now I'm going to start seasoning. Now in the beef, I'm going to be adding a little bit of oxtail seasoning to it. So I didn't put too much, just a little bit. And then when we're making the stew, we're going to be adding green seasoning to it. And I will show you how we make our green seasoning in a little bit, but I'm going to mix this up now, stir it up, and then it'll be ready to be bagged. And that's what it looks like all bagged up, ready to go into the freezer. So I'm going to do the next container and then shall be back. Now I have 2 bags of stewing beef all cut up, clean, seasoned, and ready to go in the freezer. So these chickens I'm going to clean, season, and then cut it. Well, clean, cut up, and then season. These 2 chickens I will use when we're making butter chicken this month. So this will be for one night and leftovers, and then another night and then leftovers. And then remember, always clean your cutting board and your knife and your cleaning bowl or whatever. You don't want to cross-contaminate, especially when you're dealing with chicken, because salmonella and so forth. So always clean your cutting board, your knife, and everything when you're transitioning between different types of meat. And for this, I'm going to keep the seasoning also very basic. For the chicken, I will be using a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and of course my dash. I'll be either using the Lowry, or I totally forgot that I had this. So I forgot to put this in my stew beef. But that's okay, I can add that when I am getting ready to cook stew beef on those days. I can add it when the meat has been defrosted, and then just before cooking I can just throw that on there. But between these 2, I want to mention to be careful because these 2 have salt. Everything that I've been using so far doesn't have salt like that. So these 2 are heavy on the salt. So always use, if you're going to use this one or that one, don't use too much of it. For this chicken, we usually buy the big container. There's only 3 chicken breasts that come in here. I didn't even realize that, but that's okay. We'll make it stretch. So now I'm just going to rinse this with some vinegar, and then I will cut it up into small pieces. So you want to go ahead and rinse that with some vinegar, and then rinse it off with water about 3 or 4 times. I rinsed the chicken, and now I'm going to cut it up into small pieces. So I diced up the chicken, and now I can go ahead and start seasoning it. Now I don't want to put too much crazy different seasonings in it because you don't want to have it interfere with the butter chicken sauce, because Indian spices and seasonings are different. And I probably should have done my research to see what kind of seasonings I could have purchased. So I'm just going to keep it very basic, very simple. But at least it's prepped, and for the days that we're making butter chicken, I can just pull the chicken out in the morning, have that defrost, and then have that ready to go for the time I have to cook. I added a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder. This a tad bit of dash. And I decided to go with the Lowry seasoning, so I just sprinkle a little bit of that, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and just mix that all together, and then that will be ready to bag up, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with that container over there. So I just mixed that together, and like I said, I just wanted to keep it very basic, very simple, because of the butter chicken sauce. I don't want it to interfere with the herbs and stuff that are in that sauce. I was making a different chicken dish, and I would add a different type of seasonings and so forth, and went a little bit heavier on those seasonings, but this is for butter chicken. So these chickens here, my husband's gonna be the one to skin them, clean them, season them up, and then we'll bag those up as well and put them in the freezer. I'm very, like, my stomach cannot handle skinning of chicken. I don't know what it is, especially when I'm pregnant. It just makes me want to gag. So my dear husband, because he loves me so much, he's going to take care of that. The only thing he won't skin is probably the chicken wings, but the drumsticks and the chicken thighs, he will definitely skin. And then this, we're going to be, the chicken wings, we'll divide those in two and have those twice. And we'll serve that with like a fried rice. And then the drumsticks, we'll do barbecue drumsticks with mashed potatoes once. And then we're going to do half drumsticks and half chicken thighs and divide that. And then I'll make chicken and lentils. And then my husband's going to make a whole chicken one night. So that's all the chicken for the month. Other than the chicken breast that you saw me season up and whatnot for butter chicken. Now, while my husband works on the chicken and stuff, I will be cleaning and cutting up all the stuff that we need for our green seasoning. Okay, so my husband just quickly cleaned and skinned the chickens, and those are seasoned up and ready to go in the bags now. This is all the chicken, all ready to go for the month, for all the dishes that we'll be eating for the month of October and November. So I'm going to get ready to blend all this up together for my green seasoning. I'm going to blend this in two parts. In here is the green onions, green peppers, red peppers, garlic, scotch bonnet, and the thyme. And then I'll blend up the parsley and the cilantro and everything after. I'm going to add it together and blend it together. So I'm just going to blend it in two parts. I forgot to mention quickly that I'm going to add some olive oil. Just drizzle some in there just to help it to blend up. A little batch that came out of what I just blended up. Now I'm gonna blend up those things and then we'll combine the two batches together. Just one. Now I'm going to add this back into there, blend it all together. Now I'm just going to add half a lime in there, and that will just help to keep it nicely preserved. You don't have to, but this is, like I said, it's just optional. I just going to throw that in there quickly and then blend it out. Alright, and that's how I make my green seasoning. Usually after I blend everything up, I'll put it into a clean jar or into a Ziploc container, and then once that's done, I can place that into my fridge, and that is good to go for at least 2 weeks while we cook, and then I'll make up a fresh batch for the remainder 2 weeks. And there you have it. This is how I prep my meat for the month. As soon as we're done putting everything away, I'll usually just clean, season, bag, and then freeze the meats. And this just makes it so much easier for me on that particular day in the morning. I'll pull out the meat and have it defrost. And then by the time 3-4 o'clock rolls around, I'm ready to cook. And then I don't have to worry about seasoning. My meat is nicely marinated. And then it's ready to go. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment down below. And I really enjoyed making this video, so I just want to quickly say thank you to all our new subscribers. I really enjoyed talking with you guys in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and may the Lord bless each and every single one of you.